All right, so we're going to dive into a story that builds its terror not with, monsters or big jump scares, but with something you see every single day, a mirror. Let's break down how this story turns something so mundane into something absolutely menacing.
Right off the bat, this opening line just grabs you, doesn't it? The story immediately takes this everyday object and makes it a source of pure dread. And that, right there, is a classic move in psychological horror, making the familiar feel totally alien and just deeply, deeply unsettling.
So this is it. This is the central, terrifying question of the entire story. We're going to follow one man's spiral into paranoia when the person staring back at him from the mirror decides, you know what? I'm tired of just looking. They want a life of their own. Our story kicks off with a guy named Alex Harper. He's a totally normal dude. And like all the best horror stories, it doesn't start with a bang. Nope. It starts with a tiny little thing you could easily brush off, a little crack that signals the very beginning of a complete nightmare.
The first weird thing that happens is a perfect example of this idea of the uncanny valley. Alex is exhausted, he's just gotten out of the shower, and he sees his reflection smile when he isn't smiling. It's almost human, but it's just wrong. And he does what any of us would do. He writes it off. A trick of the light, maybe some condensation on the glass. Totally logical.
See how the story just brilliantly strips away all the rational explanations? A smile, okay, that could be a mistake. But then a deliberate blink, totally out of sync with his own, that's a lot harder to ignore. And by the time we get that knowing grin, well, all plausible deniability is just gone. This isn't some weird anomaly anymore. It's a deliberate, intelligent threat.
Okay, let's move on to the next stage, because this is where the reflection stops being just a passive, creepy image in the glass and actually starts to become an active, separate entity. It has its own agenda.
And this is where the core fear really starts to take shape. The thing in the mirror isn't just a copy of Alex, it's an idealized, better version. And this preys on such a deep human insecurity, that feeling that we're not quite good enough, or rested enough, or put together enough. The reflection is literally the man Alex wishes he could be.
The whole power dynamic just completely flips right here. For a little while, the reflection is just copying him, but with a slight delay. But when it starts to anticipate his actions, like it raises its hand before he even thinks about it, it shatters a fundamental law of physics, of reality itself. The reflection isn't following anymore. It's starting to lead.
And then it speaks. This is just a chilling declaration of intent. It confirms all of Alex's absolute worst fears. The threat isn't just psychological anymore. It's become existential. This thing isn't just trying to scare him. It is coming to replace him.
His reaction is just pure primal fear. What else can you do? It's a desperate, gut-level attempt to destroy the problem at its source. But, as we're about to find out, the entity is no longer trapped in that one piece of broken glass.
So this is the point where the threat completely shatters the boundary of the mirror and just bleeds out into Alex's actual physical reality. The entity begins to systematically take apart his life, replacing him piece by agonizing piece. The story uses these small, destabilizing moments to create this powerful sense of being gaslit. I mean, is Alex losing his mind? Or is something else really going on? His own reality is being subtly rewritten all around him, and it turns him into an unreliable narrator in his own life. The entity is just laying the groundwork for a total takeover. The hopelessness of his struggle becomes terrifyingly clear. Smashing that first mirror? Totally pointless. Because the threat isn't in the object. It's attached to him. And let's be real, in our modern world, there is literally no escape from your own reflection.
And right here, the reflection's voice, heard directly inside Alex's own head, represents the final wall just crumbling down. The barrier between his internal world and this external threat is completely gone. The horror is now inside him.
And that brings us to the final, chilling confrontation, and to the ultimate horror of this entire story. It's not death. It's replacement.
This is the entity's checkmate. It's not just attacking Alex's life anymore. It's attacking his very sense of self-worth. It's claiming it's superior in every way, telling him his friends, his clients, even his own mother, they all prefer the new version. It's the ultimate psychological gut punch.
And then it physically crosses over. The second Alex looks up and sees that the mirror is empty, he knows. It's not contained anymore. It's behind him.
And this is it, the final struggle, where the original Alex is violently overthrown and trapped.
So his reality has been completely turned upside down. The mirror, which was once the source of all his terror, is now his prison. Where smashing it was this big act of defiance, now smiling at it is an act of forced, terrified compliance.
And here it is, the true horror, the fear that I think resonates with all of us. The world accepts the replacement without even a question. In fact, everyone agrees this new Alex is an improvement. The entity's claim is validated. It is the better version, and no one even noticed the person he replaced is gone.
And with this final, haunting line, we're left with the most terrifying implication of all. The real Alex is still in there. He's conscious, trapped behind the glass, watching a stranger live his life better than he ever could. And it leaves us with this chilling question. What if the imposter isn't just a monster, but an upgrade?